Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Lee Carter, and today I'm going to do a speech about the new age of awareness and consciousness. This really is the new age, and in the next few years, you're all going to think that you are living in a science fiction movie. Only this is reality as far as I'm concerned. This is an exciting time now for the Earth. There's going to be some disclosure soon. Many races out there are ETs, what you have depicted as angels in your Bible text. And on my last speech, I spoke about energies, and I spoke about angels and the different dimensions on the Earth and frequency. So this is all going to be explained in this speech today. This is follow on from the last speech. As I said in your Bible text, that these are higher dimensional beings. They're just more evolved than you are and can be seen as part of a galactic family, because that's what you are. You are part of a galactic family. Many of us here are having contact already by 2017. You are going to know you are not alone. And by 2025 to 2033, there's going to be contact here. I'm just here to share my light. Having a feeling of not coming from here, like many others, we're giving so much to share the light as a light worker, as well as indigos, rainbow children. Dolores Cannon spoke about this, the three waves coming here. I'm most probably one of the first wave that was born in the 1960s. Back in 2009, I had a spiritual awakening whilst going through a transformation. So I found out that I was one of those. So don't worry, it's not War of the Worlds, and please don't pay attention to all these alien films that you're watching and music media. They throw at you simply to put fear into you. They are so evolved, they are thousands of years ahead as a species. Why would they want to invade you? All this is false flag operations and deceit from your governments, since it's love and light. Light being information. Many of us have come here to help in the consciousness of humanity with healing. Astrophysics, energies, manipulation of matter, telepathy, and many other different fields with a mission. There's going to be much disclosure, and this has been spoken about by Dr. Stephen Greer as well. He's also mentioned this. Although I don't feel it will be from an American government, I feel that this will either come from China, India, or Russia. See, they see you as being primitive here, and much is being done with many of the star children being here and feel life here is simply very wrong, involving your systems looking outside the box. However, there's only a few trying to rule this planet, since those here are trying to scare you. Your governments are not human. They are entities that are feeding on a lower frequency of your energies. And they're malevolent. They're not benevolent. The ETs in the universe, the benevolent ones, are the ones here that are trying to help you. Only the law of the universe is that they can't intervene. These are the laws. So they're doing it in a much different way. They're doing it from the inside, and that's why many of the star children have been born here already. Okay, there's a spiritual war going on here. the war that's going on now is a war between light and dark energy. That's the war. It's an alien war. And the ones that empower the elite, they're not human. And they're feeding off this low frequency that you're on at the moment. And you've been tuned into this tune for thousands of years, the same old frequency. So this is the time of change now, for humanity, that is. Okay, so when I talk about psychological, a spiritual war, for example, most of what they give you at the moment is disinformation, which is psychological. I haven't watched TV for 5 years, and really this is just one thing that they just use this as mind control, which is very deceitful and hypnotic. Since, like I said, this is a spiritual war. Many of our galactic family have been here since time, eons in fact. They've been coming on and off this planet for many, many, many years, thousands of years. It's in your ancient texts, on your drawings, on your walls, on your pyramids. Even archaeologists know this. You know, if an archaeologist is doing a PhD, the thing is, if he says to you, okay, there was little green men that come down here and they built the pyramids in Egypt, he won't get his degree, his PhD in archaeology. He won't be allowed. So what's happening now at the moment is a lot of things are being hidden from you. So much, the real truth has been hidden from you, who you are as a species here, humanity. The governments are not telling you nothing, but they're going to have to open up soon because they're being pushed to open up because this planet is being watched. Okay, so we're going to be talking about consciousness and energies and what it is that these positive ETs are now doing at the moment to help you to look at that inner voice inside yourself, to consciously start thinking differently. Okay. Such as, for example, when you look back in your ancient text, looking back at Ezekiel, the wheel within a wheel, you know, and the parting of the sea with Moses. I mean, come on. You can either look at that and think to yourself, okay, well, this is just a myth, and God lives on a cloud with a big, you know, with a big beard. You know, what do you think parted that sea? Positive ETs. The wheel within a wheel is a UFO. How long do you think the universe has been here? It's so vast and so big. This is nothing. We're just absolutely small. We're just a pinprick. So we're going to go on to the first slide. Now, I'm just here to mentor. I'm just a citizen of the universe as a mentor. I'm not here to tell you what to do. Consciously, I am here to make you think as a light worker. Many people are waking up now quickly, some more than others, and questioning. I'm not here to rule or to tell you what to do. I'm here to help teach you. That was my calling. These benevolent beings are also here to see that you make it through the transition, because it's all based on energy. And this is what I spoke about in my last lectures about energy and frequency and consciousness. You're all connected to one source. They need to see that you're going to make it through the transition, because you're being watched at the moment. They want to make sure that you are not going to be a threat to the rest of the universe before making contact, so that you can try and sort it out between yourselves. What I'm talking about here, for example, is nuclear warfare, for example. They don't want to see you, start blowing yourselves, destroying your own selves, basically, because even though the law of the universe is that they can't intervene, if you start a thermonuclear war on this planet, it will affect the whole universe. Those energies will affect There are UFO ships, other planets, other dimensions, everything, and that's when they are allowed to intervene. And to give you one example, that's why when you hear around the world some of these nuclear sites where UFOs have come along and they've just shut it down, just like that. You must understand they are much more highly evolved than you are, probably even thousands of years ahead, and they've got the technology and the power to do that. Okay, so that's just one example. The other one is they're watching the space program that's going on now with NASA. The very small elite that are ruling this planet at the moment, which are, to me, are a bunch of loonies, psychopaths. They do not honour the earth, and they certainly do not honour you for life. Their only concern is corporate money, greed, and they're feeding off your emotions and, again, that lower frequency as a food source. Either way, the show has gone on long enough, and since there are 7 billion people on this planet, you have the power consciously to start making some changes. This is the right time now for you to make the change. And the whole universe is watching you right now. They've been waiting for this moment to see how you're going to do. I have already had some contact, and I realised who I was and why I was here and the mission that I was on. I had some contact with UFOs and in a metaphysical way, because they do things by telepathy in the universe. It's done by telepathy, levitation, psychic, and so forth. There are many civilizations in the universe out there, and your governments have known this for a very long time. This includes the UFO crash in Mexico, which to do with Roswell, in Russia, in the Atlantic. There's going to be lots of challenges here. Now, what's coming, for example, what is ruling the planet now, as I said before, is not human. And they're playing with Mother Earth, they're playing with your weather, they're using the heart machine, they're putting chemicals in the air. This also includes your food supply, and many of you are suffering from cancerous diseases, and this is caused by the sprays and stuff that they use on the foods. So Star Trek is very real. It is your destiny to travel the stars, rather than living in this matrix that you're living in at the moment, which is 3D, 3-dimension, which is the lower frequency. But now you've moved up to the 4th and 5th dimension now. This has been happening for the last few years. And people are becoming more awake and more aware and what's going on. So there's lots of changes coming. Even though they want to have a one-world government and have you completely controlled in every way, your mind, your body, everything, what you have, where you go, what you do. They are what you call the riffraff of the universe. And it's happening on other planets too, so it's not just this planet. However, there is going to be a collapse, and it's not going to go on for too long. With regards to the dirty energy that you're using around the earth, there's no need to use the dirty energy that you've got here on the earth at the moment, such as electric, gas, coal, and so forth. However, you will need in time to work, to eat, to live, to survive. That won't be happening. It'll be more like you'll be contributing towards society in years to come. And I just think the next few years there's going to be some major changes. But you're being watched at the moment, and they're more concerned about the nuclear power and the energy that you have at the moment. So, as Einstein said, we won't solve our problems with the same kind of thinking that we used when we created them. So basically, humanity needs to consciously start taking responsibility and start thinking differently. For example, the things you watch on TV, subliminal messages that you see. If they crash the economic system tomorrow, what are you going to do? How are you going to survive? Because they've got the power to do it. They control all your systems. So we're now going to go on to the next slide, slide 3. As I mentioned in my last lecture, I said that everything is on a frequency and that it's energy. Everything in the universe is waveform. These star beings are telepathic, and they're telling me that the universe is an expanding energy field of awareness. It is the language of light. So, an all-knowing intelligence all over the cosmos. I consciously felt those signs also in the crop circles when I had my spiritual awakening back in 2009. As I said earlier, for eons, ETs have been on and off this planet, helping you with your evolution, helping you to develop. Like most planets in the universe, they are also going through evolution and stages, and they are developing too. You are spiritual beings having a human experience, and this is what I spoke about in my last lecture. It's crap about you being sinners, which has been wrote in your Bible text. It makes me want to puke. There's no such thing as being sinners. You're here to learn. It's okay to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. You're spiritual beings. You've come here to have a human experience to learn. Earth is a graduating school. It's probably one of the hardest planets in the universe to be on right now. And you need to learn to start thinking differently. You need to learn to come together. I mean, it's probably one of the toughest planets in the universe. So congratulations if you're living on this planet right now. It's been an experience for me being here. Religion has been used by the small few to separate the masses, to cause conflict and feed off your emotions. That's the lower frequency they've been keeping you on. The same old tune. It's like dialing into a radio, the same old tune, same old frequency for the last thousands and thousands of years, where you're warring each other, fighting each other, separating the masses through these beliefs and religions. You are God consciousness. You all have a spirit. You come from one source. You are all connected. You are energy. You are connected to Mother Earth. Everybody is connected. You are connected to the universe. It is what it is. So as I said in my last lecture, Jesus, Muhammad, Mother Teresa, it's inside all of you. And the people that were sent here, Princess Diana, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, they were put here to show you the way. So you could consciously start thinking differently. They didn't just come here. Okay, if you look at the picture there, there's a picture of me there in Mexico with this dolphin, okay? Now, the Earth has been around for 4.5 billion years. And the universe has been around for trillions of years. And the universe is so big, it's unimaginable. So if you think you're alone in the universe, you've got to be absolutely kidding. But the governments won't tell you that. But don't worry, you're going to find out anyway, because the next few years you're in for some wonderful changes. Things are going to change. They can't go on like this. The systems are corrupt. I mean, your education system is malarkey. I'm sorry, I've just finished a degree. You take out loans. It's nonsense. It's all controlled. Everything is repeated. Everything they teach you has been repeated. From the last lecture to the last lecture. They won't tell you the real truth in school, what's really going on. And I'm going to show you some stuff now, what's really going on. Just to show you a couple of things. Okay. So when you see this dolphin here, now these dolphins are not from here. They're from Sirius. They're like the humans of the sea. They were put here on this planet many thousands of years ago. And that's why they're so intelligent. They are so telepathic. They've been brought here as an intelligent species, and they also have contact with ETs because the language that they speak is a different kind of language. And this is what I'm talking about with the universe. The language that they speak in the universe is a different kind of language. They don't have to speak, for example, they're telepathic. Other types of language that they use is geometry, for example. It's another language they use. It's all over your ancient sites, all over the world. South Africa, Egypt, Peru, Mexico, everywhere. So these dolphins, they're on a higher vibration, and the water is used as a buffer. Well, that's why they're so intelligent. You can speak, they speak in a different language when you hear them sing and speak and talk. It's a different language. So I'm just trying to give you one example that, you know, these species have been put here. They're not from here. There's been so much that's been hidden from you, and so much is going to come out soon. And on the left-hand side, you can see here, this is a geometric pattern. It's advanced. It's impossible to make by Earth technology. It contains important information, and the crop circles have been put here multi-dimensional to trust your inner self and for you to consciously awaken inside. And this goes for everybody, because everybody is conscious, everybody is spiritual being. So there's a reason why these crop circles have been put here. Now, this flower life on the left-hand side, this is actually called the torus in 3D. And there's about 5,000 crop circles all over the world in about 30 countries, mostly in England. The reason why they're mostly in England is because in Wiltshire, where these crop circles are being made, you've got Stonehenge very nearby. These ancient sites carry energy. And as I mentioned in my last lecture, I said to you that the earth, I spoke about the chakras, and that the earth has energy grids, portals, and dimensions. And the earth chakra is at Stonehenge. So these higher dimensional beings, or ETs if you want to call them, because they see us as an ET as well, they can come in and out these doors and make these crop circles. And in the south of England, that's why you have so many crop circles there, because this is actually a doorway, a dimension that they can come in and out of. And I'll explain a little bit more later also why they come there as well. So, this flower holds all sacred geometry in the universe. The stars, the planets, the sun, your bodies, practically everything that exists which is manifested through the sacred geometrical proportions, is the language of light, emotions, the theories that come from this sacred geometry as the seed of life, which is the laws for life, which I'm going to explain. So these are actually messages, and I'll explain that a little bit more later. So we're going to go on to the next slide now. Okay, so here we have some ancient sites around the world. Now, looking at these sites, as you can see, this one, I think, is in Israel. And inside there, you have, again, the flower of life from thousands of years ago. This first one is in China. They call it the Guardian. Goes back, I should say, probably 4,500 years. Sacred knowledge. And if you look at that, it's got its paw over it, and it's got the flower of life. That's in China. By the way, your governments won't teach you this in schools, because I'm going to tell you a little bit of reason why later why they won't teach you this. And again, here in China, you see it's got its paw over the flower of life. Again, in Turkey, on the floor. It's also in Abydos in Egypt. It's actually been burnt into the wall, the flower of life. This is in Belgium, carved into the wood. Also in Austria, it's been carved into the wood. In India as well. All over the world. Going back thousands of years, all these ancient sites is flower of life. Who put them there? How did they know this knowledge? I'm going to explain in a little while what the flower of life is, okay? So as you can see, the guardians, the lions with the paw in China, it has 64 units, this flower of life. It's called the vector equilibrium. In China, they call it the I Ching, 64. So this flower of life involves the torus, which is called the vector equilibrium, and it involves patterns to the creations of the universe. So again, it's in Ephesus in Turkey, the Golden Temple of the Sikh in India, Hungary, Austria, Israel, the Temple King Herod, includes Tibet, most of the Mediterranean and the rest of the world, including Abydos in Egypt. Okay, so who put them there then? How could they have known this knowledge all these thousands of years ago? It has to be a higher intelligence. Okay, so the dynamics of the torus is the information needed as a device for free energy. Okay, without combustion. Much of the suffering that's going on the planet is because of the access to free energy. Clean energy. To transform your quality of life on this planet. Your governments here, they know about this, and as I said before, they are corrupt. This happens, they go out of business, boom, trillions of dollars, they lose their piggy bank. Out goes E.ON, Excel, Shell, that's it. So the formula underneath, mathematicians call this the torus, is the energy flows in through one and circulates around the centre and exits out the other side. It's balanced regulating. The whole universe is a torus growing factory. The energy is embedded through the cosmos on how it flows together like a skeleton called the vector equilibrium. It generates energy and transforms the quality of life on the planet through clean energy, free energy. Lack of access to energy, it would transform the quality of life on this planet. The ETs, the positive ETs, the highly evolved beings that are on and off this planet for eons, disclosure now is very, very close. So if I go on to the next slide, now we'll talk about the Taurus. Again, this is in Wiltshire, in the south of England. Again, you can see these. This first one is actually a Taurus, but what they've done is they've done it in 3D, in a third dimension. This Taurus encoded message, which you've seen with many different cultures for millennia, it's within so many cultures, as I said, the 64, the I Ching, the hexagrams, in the Hebrew tree of life. Indeed, they are giving you signs and helping you with your evolution, rather than the dirty energy, which will help many with clean water and food, as well as shelter around the world, helping humanity with these new systems of propulsion involving free energy. And you'll find many of the UFOs that you've seen and the ETs that are coming, now you've seen, now because you're more advanced in technology, you have YouTube, and you're seeing so many of these UFOs around the planet now, you'll find that they use these propulsion systems. You know, they've already worked it out. They're just highly more evolved than you are, more advanced, thousands of years, probably even more than that. So they are here trying to give you these messages. Again, the first one again is the flower of life, giving you consciously these messages, which is a language of light, language of the universe, to try and help you evolve and develop from the mess that you're in at the moment. So we go on to the next slide again, slide 6. Okay, so again, this is another cropped circle. It's actually pi, 3.14. They taught you that in school, didn't they? And when you look at this circle, you'll see that it has 10 digits around it. That's back in July 2008. So, as I mentioned earlier, these higher beings are coming in, and they're coming in through portals, wormholes, dimensions on the earth, and they're using the crop circles as a type of language to communicate with you consciously, to awaken you by using this symbolic language that they're using at the moment. Okay, if we go on to the next slide. And then, as you can see here from this one, okay, this is a binary code, and on there you can see an alien face. I'm not quite sure if the alien face is putting it is that it's trying to show you that it was them that put it there, or it's maybe giving you a message to tell you what's ruling this earth is not human, because in the message it says, beware of bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. There is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing. So it could be a message to tell you to try and discern yourself with the information that you're seeing now in this frequency, this dimension that you're on, which is dense 3D, which has now moved up to the 4th and 5th dimension, that what you're seeing now with your governments and your systems here, people beginning to see now that it's very deceitful. like what's written in your Bible text, it's wolves in sheep's clothing, you know, like President Obama trying to start a third world war and so forth. That they can see, and hoping that you will consciously sort this out, start thinking differently. Because the war that's going on now, it's an alien war, it's a spiritual war between light and dark energy. And the dark energy is those that are controlling your systems, the very small elite, they're in power. Okay, so you can see there that this was done in Salisbury in England, by the way. So if we go on to the next slide. Now again, in 1974, a message was sent out using a radio signal, a digital transmission. This was sent out in space, and on this message, it's got like a binary code or chip, which it displayed the human DNA code of this planet, a human figure, as you can see up there, showing an inhabited planet with our core principles, the maths we use, the science we use, how many planets are in our system, and the 10 digits of mathematics used was sent out in space. It also gave a response. In response, it spoke about the atoms, hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, which is in the body, with the chemicals from the DNA, with the structure and size of the genome. These are answers in order to awaken consciousness. So in 2001, this message was interpreted by an ET intelligence, responding with a different solar system, a non-human DNA, and they used a microwave antenna next to it. Obviously, that was a radio signal, and they responded back showing their DNA and how many planets are in their solar system. And obviously they used a microwave signal. Obviously they're more advanced than we are here, more developed, so they responded to that message and put it in the field here in the south of England. Obviously your media and TV won't tell you about that because they control the media, as I said before. Your governments control the systems. They wouldn't have told you about that, NASA, though, would they? Or your governments or your TV programs. So NASA denies it officially, and any contact of any kind, which is not true. Of course, you will not see that in your newspaper, and you certainly won't see it on TV because it's all controlled. So we go on to the next slide. So here we go. Now, when I looked at this butterfly, when I had my spiritual awakening back in 2009, I found myself going to ancient sites, having contact with UFOs, finding out who I was. I felt like I was the universe. And I didn't feel that I was from here, that I've come here as a foreigner. I didn't even feel that I could fit into any system. I felt different. And that there was something wrong with me. And then I realised that I'm not alone. There's many of us here. Many of us here are not from here. There's a whole galactic family out there. Many of them are human looking like you. In fact, they're actually your ancestors. Hybrids, as you call them. So when I looked at this butterfly, it looks like something that's transformed. When you think of a caterpillar, it transforms into a butterfly. So straight away you think transformation. It's a resemblance, and it's an ancient sacred art of something like, I am free, I am ready for the next stage of human evolution. It's the core of your eternal being rising to the surface. It's forced, it's a bond to the light. Okay, so that's what I thought when I looked at that. Going through my awakening, I consciously started thinking differently, and I felt like I was outside the box looking in. I saw the world differently. I didn't see the world the way I did before. And realising that we are multi-dimensional beings and things are not what they seem. So when you look at this butterfly, it's a metamorphosis into a light body. Since your human body is a vessel, you are all spiritual beings. It's like the shift of a caterpillar to a butterfly. It's not a transformation, but a transmutation in which your body is aligned to a higher frequency of resonance. This higher frequency of resonance always existed on the higher frequency, but it was not visible to the limited perceptions of your earth vessel. Since your multidimensional pattern needs to interact with your physical brain, you can see the higher dimensions through a higher state of consciousness. However, you are kept in a lower state of consciousness through fear-based thoughts and emotions in this physical world. 3D meaning dense, physical, keeping you in these lower dimensions. This is what the government's doing at the moment. Fear-based. They feed off your fears. Okay, so we're going to go on to the next slide. In my first lecture, I spoke about energies, transformation, and I spoke about the chakras. I spoke about the 7 energy wheels in the human body, because you all have them. They've been around for thousands of years. Those 7 energy wheels that are in the human body is called the Merkaba. And those energy wheels are tuned in on a frequency. You are connected to the earth, you're connected to the universe. They've been around for thousands of years. The Buddhists know about it, the Chinese know about it. And as you can see here in the field again, the crop circle is perfect. It doesn't look like a hoax to me. These highly evolved beings, you know, the way that it's been shaped and made, that does not look like a hoax that someone's just gone in there and made that up. Especially with the other patterns. These are a language that is a much higher intelligence. So I couldn't imagine someone going in there and putting patterns like that there with 5,000 crop circles around the world. But there we go. So there's the chakras, the 7 energy wheels. So they're actually trying to tell you something, because those energy wheels are based on frequencies. It's based on consciousness and you moving and awakening to who you are and tuning in to these higher dimensions. The earth is awakening too. Mother Earth is going through the same thing. She has chakras on the body of the earth. They're in Tibet, Stonehenge, Egypt. That's the reason why these ancient sites have been built there. They've been built there on these energy grids for a reason. They were put there for a reason. And that's why there's so much energy coming from there. The main temple in Mexico, most of these ancient sites have been put there for a reason. They weren't just put there. So as you can see from those chakras, God is energy. It is what it is. And everything is connected. So if you go on to the next slide. Again, you can see, looking at these chakras, as I said in my last speech, these are ancient symbols. mind, body and spirit. The 7 chakras, the 7 energy wheels in the body. And the crown being your connection with source, your higher self, your inner spirit, because you've all got one. Your body is just a vessel, it's just a shell. So we move on to the next slide. Okay, I really like this. This was put in the newspapers back in 1991. These 2 men admitted to being a hoax, since many of these crop circles are messy, okay, and are not as complex and as geometrically shaped as the others. So this to me displays false information, and this is where you need to use that little inner voice inside yourself and to consciously separate information and be discerning from what is false and what is truth at the moment in this system that you're living in with what you watch and see. And these guys admitted to what they were doing. So, you know, as I mentioned earlier, compared to these complex ones, you know, knowing that they're a prankster, that they would put so much time and detail into these symbolic messages, these universal language that they're using. These are intelligent, you know, there's an intelligence behind this. You know, these have not just been put there, but they won't show this on your TV. Your governments won't show this on the news. And, you know, like when you look at the flower of life, that was actually done overnight, the flower of life, and it was done while it was wet, and there was no footprints either. So how did they do that? It must have flied or something. So we go on to the next slide. Okay, so when we look at these crops have been heated and twisted using electrical magnetic technology. The real crop circles generate a field of electrical energy. So I find that when you go in there, there is such a feeling about it consciously from the energy that's coming from those crop circles after they've been made. So if I was to walk into this crop circle, I would consciously feel uplifted, since this is energy. It's not just an ancient or universal language. The media tried to palm it off as a hoax. So those made by pranksters are crude. You'll find most of the crop circles that are crude, and the pranksters that do it, they're not perfectly shaped. You can see they've been man-made. And since the hoax did not make all 5,000, like the flower of life that's made in the dead of night, this is an electromagnetic field around the crops after creation, having strange magnetic particles, and they've been bent to such a degree without destroying the crops. So I know that there's a kind of disinformation out there being of the light, so you can see this clearly. So you need to discern yourself from all this. So if we go on to the next slide. So here we have the Mayan calendar. Okay. And back in 2012, in December, I was at the Mayan temple. Now with the Mayan calendar, why would they put that there? If you only have to look at it and it looks very, very perfect to me. It doesn't look like that was man-made to me. Using electrical magnetic technology. Don't forget they're more advanced than you are. They don't have to walk around and make a crop circle. They can do it from using energy. It's so advanced. What do they need to do that for? So when you look at this Mayan calendar, it shows the end of a time and the rebirth with the old systems going out and the new systems coming in. And that's what's happening now. It's talking about the new frequencies and people awakening into the fourth and fifth dimension, because there are other planets in the universe that are on the sixth, seventh, eighth and ninth dimension. They're highly more evolved than you are. So humanity as a species, you need to start clearing your mind, and you need to start taking responsibility, and you need to start thinking differently on how you do things, and by what you see and by what you watch and what you do, because you're very powerful. You're very powerful beings. And to be honest with you, those controlling the system are what you call the riffraff of the universe. They're parasites. And it's happening on other planets that are not so involved, and those that are more involved have worked it out and sorted it out and made it through. And they don't have to dig from the earth to take from the earth. They have free energy. They can travel through the universe, going through wormholes. And they don't have to take from the earth. They have clean energy, and the systems are different. So as you can see from this, so really this is a message to talk about the timeline that you're on. 2012, they try to put all this fear-based energy into you by what they put on the TV. Oh, you know, it's the end of the world. And the Earth is finished. 2012, what the Mayans predicted, it was nothing of a sort. I was in Mexico. I actually was at the temple in 2012, and I knew nothing was happening at all like that. It was the end of a time. It was a golden age. It's what they've been talking about for thousands of years. The ancients, the ETs know about this. They've been watching the earth. They knew this day would come. But your governments have been feeding you absolute crap and rubbish, like they always do. Lies and deceit. So that's the message that they've given there. And as you can see there, I was at the Mayan Temple in 2012 because of all the energies that were coming there through the galactic alignment. Those energies are connected to you, every one of you, and the earth. Everything is connected, all is one. So it was about the physical manifestation of the spirit inwards and outwards. And your star family out there is trying to guide you to these creative patterns of nature. So you need to reconnect with spirit again. Where there is matter, there is geometry. And consciousness in physical form is the manifestation of the divine. The electromagnetic brings higher frequencies. It is a language throughout the universe. It's an all-knowing intelligence. And it's parallel all over the cosmos. Which leads on to the last slide. So again, talking about the Mayan temple and the indigenous tribes, not just the Mayans, but the Indians, the Hopis in America, and most of these indigenous tribes, as well as in South Africa, they've known about this for thousands of years. They've kept it in their culture. They've always known, as well as the Mayans. So it's parallel all over the cosmos, this knowing. So, as I said, these energies are carried on these grids all around the earth, including the Mayan temple. As I spoke in my first lecture, regards the portals and the grids and the wormholes, they are all energy centres of the earth. And it's the same energy centres that are connected to your light body, the Merkaba, which is concerning the chakras in helping you to raise consciousness. And as you can see in those crop circles, they've used that for you to go inwardly and start connecting consciously and spiritually, so you can start taking responsibility in doing what's right and to start thinking differently with the changes that are coming on this earth. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much. And I hope you enjoyed it tonight. So I'll say thanks to everyone coming here tonight, and hope this will, help you to awaken a little bit and to consciously start thinking differently about some of the things that are going on in the world at the moment. Because there's some wonderful changes coming here on the earth, and there's going to be lots of rebellion. Because there really is a spiritual war going on at the moment. Lots of changes coming with the systems. So you need to prepare yourself in a positive way. So thank you very much.